So working on the rear window that needs to be shrunk down quite a bit. My original one, I can't remember. I did kind of take a half-assed video of the measurements, but my original one was about, from the factory lip up here to the metal that I put in was about 13 inches. So I'm going to kind of stick with that. I just didn't even think about utilizing the trim the first time around. I think Ron on Facebook is doing it the right way, and I'm going to copy him. So I'm going to cut this right here and utilize every factory edge that I have. So my original car, I didn't, so I had to just let this kind of run down like that. But what I'm going to do is whack that there, so then you'll utilize this piece and that factory edge right there, and slide this. This will get slid into that piece, utilizing that factory edge. Same thing with up here then. So this is going to dictate the geometry. If you watch my original video, I had a hell of a time where I had to really hog the back of this stuff out to make this work, just purely eyeballing it. I got lucky that it was close enough, but this will be the geometry then, once you just kind of whack your pieces down. All right, so what I think I'm doing is measuring from the very top of the actual car where it gives me a straight edge. I'm going down 14 inches. I already whacked that little piece. You can see we're going to whack it here and here, utilizing that factory edge. So there'll be seams there and there. And this piece will get cut right about there. I'll utilize that angle, and that'll get slid in there. I only have the factory trim for this car. Feels like I might be making a mistake, but I don't think so. So I whacked that off. That'll go like this, but this just needs to be opened up a little bit and maybe hog that off just so that it can slide behind it a little bit easier. So maybe just take a relief cut just so it can go in to give it that factory look. This would be the front of the car over here looking down. You don't want to overlap like that. So when you look down the car, you don't see the seam. Got my stuff kind of eyeballed where I want it. Actually, it's even tighter than that. I can't even take it apart. So obviously factory, that's a factory piece. Took this from the other side. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this apart, and now this piece will be on the other side of the car just like that. So I'm going to take this piece off, absolutely copy it. And that'll give me the proper distance. I'll copy that one as well. In theory, they're kind of the same. Close enough for government work. All right, just to recap, there's not going to be much scrap left over. A couple 5 or 6 inch pieces is all you're going to have left if you do it right. That's pretty much it for scrap. Again, I'm coming down about 14 inches. It's going to have a little bit of tweaking, but for the most part, that's what I like. So factory, no seam, then 2 seams there. There is one seam that looks that way, and I could have swapped it around, but it was just a little easier fitting it that way. But that's how you want to do it. So that piece has got to be at least, 5.5 to this factory bend. I'm more interested in this piece. So I think I'm just going to make it, 16 inches by 8 again. So if I rip 32 inches by 8 inches, should give me plenty of material. Let's double check that. 16, I got an inch and an inch. Fattest portion, well, to the bend would be there 7, but I'm just gonna go 7 plus a bend and a bend. Let's go 9. Several days have passed since I did the trim. Now it's time to get some metal to fill this in. So kind of right here, and then we gotta go across here. Got a buddy who's got a big metal brake, so hopefully he's available to help me bend that. Otherwise it'll be on hold. Let's go back to the treasure shed of stock metal and forgotten toys. Let's see what we got back here for gauge. A little bit of everything. Let's see what we can do. Pretty straightforward, just some flat metal. I do got the PowerMax 30 XP plasma art cutter. Had it for, I don't know, 2-3 years. Haven't used it a ton, but it's more than enough for what I use it for. Just kind of play around with it for the most part. Right here, so just my rough slab. Make it long enough because you can see clearly that that corner, it's kind of a trapezoid shape. And won't have enough because I'm going to go now to my buddies hopefully and make that factory bend on this piece of metal ×2 and for the little triangle piece up there. Side note, I did pick up something the other day off Facebook Marketplace. This old school golf bag. I primarily want it because it has the travel cover case, I guess. I don't even know, I'm not a golfer, but this is an old school Northwest Airlines based on MSP. So it's kind of a red bit golf bag that'll go on the passenger side. All right, we're back again. Yesterday, I got the metal bent up. In the video that you're watching now, you've seen that I went to my buddy's that's got a pretty sizable metal brake, but I couldn't remember what gauge metal I used previously. This is some thick ass shit. I mean, it's probably like the thickness of a nickel. Money denomination that is, and it's just, it took everything that little brake, it's not a little brake, it's like a 10-foot brake. So I had to go to my other buddies who has like literally a metal fab shop. The only issue with that is this lip is like the most critical part right here. That's about 3/4 of an inch. And it's just, you can see the difference. It is pretty drastic. The difference. This is, again, this distance is what I'm most concerned about, which is basically that distance is 3/4 of an inch. And you can see that and that are drastically different. Maybe that's the easiest way of showing it. So I had extra metal. Not really out anything, but just time. And this is a lot thinner. Here's the two. You kind of will see so these are the ones I'm going to use. Those two and this one. Worst case, I can always make those work, but I think it's just going to be, because I just don't want to be fighting the recess of the trim is my biggest thing. That's why it's important to get that depth if you're doing it like me. So it'll be just falling in. So now I just got to figure out that profile. So I'm just making a template. I'm into this thing for maybe a minute. Just bring that over here. Kind of trace it on. And we'll be cooking with gas here momentarily. So like I said before, it's not rocket science what I do. I just basically make a jig out of cardboard. Figure out, you know, what's gonna work. Transfer that onto a piece of wood. So like here's my front piece. Here's gonna be for the rear. Triple check, make sure everything's going laying the right way. Front kit's pretty good already. Making this one long, so depending on what you're using to cut your material, I'm gonna leave myself, you know, at least a quarter, 3/16 to play with. Now I know this is going to be extra long, but it's fine. I'm just want to get a general idea of where I'm working. So you can see what I'm working with. And I'll just keep nibbling that back until we're, you know, if you look, it's hard to see, but my line isn't too far off where I just go for broke. Here's kind of it temporarily just mocked up. A little bit of fine tuning yet, but that pretty much, when I hook on, I'm damn near 6. Pretty damn close. It looks somewhat square in there. I will have to shrink my trim slightly. It kind of grew on me a little bit, which is fine. Still a little bit bigger than my original. Like I said, it's not rocket science. You're just, you know, putting the trim in there. I did shorten that bottom one up a little bit. You can see how it's below my line now. I still will need to tweak this trim. You know, so, but so that's got to go. This side here is tough with one hand.